Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the beautiful Carlsbad Foundation building. Our boss here is Jim Harrison, a wonderful guy, and he always makes us feel good. And we have a lovely lady on the phone all the time, Dorothy, who's always smiling. And then we have a couple of other weirdos in the building, but not Dorothy. No, not Dorothy. Anyway, this is the Faces of Carlsbad, and we're very pleased to be here with you. We're sponsored by Intrepid Potash. And this program features people you probably have never met before, but then you might be surprised. You might have seen them around someplace. And today I have a feeling that you might have seen this young lady because she's very busy in the city of Carlsbad in so many good programs, and we're going to get to those in a moment. And I'm introducing Eve Flanigan. Eve, welcome to the Faces of Carlsbad.
Thank you for having me, Bob.
Well, it's our pleasure. What I try to do on this program is to start off in the early days with your grandparents and your parents, where they came from, what made you come to Carlsbad, and things like that. So let's start out with your grandparents first.
Wow, that's really going back a long
Oh,
way.
yes. With you young people, it's so... No.
Okay. My grandparents are from Pennsylvania and Maryland. And
Where in Pennsylvania?
sadly just lost my last grandparent about 6 weeks ago.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
So, thank you.
Where in Maryland and where in Pennsylvania approximately?
Western Pennsylvania and coal and steel country.
Mhm.
Go Steelers, for anybody who's interested in that. Not a big football fan, but
You still
Steelers
root for the
country.
Steelers, huh?
Yeah,
Mhm.
Steelers country. And in Maryland, in around DC metro area, in Prince George's County, which has become not the greatest place, but when I was growing up, it was a pretty fun place to go visit.
Do you ever go back there on any trips at all?
I haven't in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I stay so busy here in Carlsbad, and that's a long way.
Tell us a little bit about your parents then.
My parents, my mom is in her mature life now has become a feral cat lady, which is probably near and dear to your heart.
Oh, I love the thought of your mother right away. That hit me right. Oh, no, I feel good about
When
that.
she comes to see me in October, I'll bring her to meet you.
Oh, you're going to have to.
She really has a heart for those wild cats all over her community, and I'm amazed at the lengths she will go to make sure that they're sheltered and fed
Yeah.
and taken care of with their health and so forth.
Oh, that's wonderful.
My stepdad is career Navy, and so I've had kind of the gift of having two dads in my life. Stepdad was a career Navy, was a fighter pilot in Korea.
Oh, is that right?
And my dad was in law enforcement growing up. So I got exposed to a lot of that back in the 70s and early 80s when things were much less, shall we say, politically correct than they were today.
Yeah.
Than they are today. So.
Wow. So anyway, you were born where? In Carlsbad?
In Pennsylvania.
In Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
And what brought you westward?
I guess a combination of things. I got fascinated with New Mexico when I was doing my undergrad work at Penn State, and that's when Milagro Beanfield War, the movie, came out.
Yes, I remember that.
And that, along with my aunt having traveled, done the Route 66 tour, and just came back with all sorts of wonderful tales about her trip. Kind of a combination of things. I got fascinated with the state and just bombarded New Mexico with resumes when I was graduating college.
Milagro Beanfield War, the author of that, I met that gentleman here in Carlsbad one
John
year.
Nichols.
Yes,
Really?
yes.
Ah.
He's famous like, what's that other guy's name, Guy Lutman?
Yeah.
They're very famous, yeah.
I think Guy actually has a little bit of an edge over John.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
He's going to write his biography someday.
Right.
And he said, the first copy he signs will go to me. Isn't that nice? Isn't he?
You've earned it, I think.
Oh, no. So anyway, you came to New Mexico, and you got started on so many different projects. Fill me in on some of them.
I did. I worked with Carlsbad Mental Health, which is now called Carlsbad Counseling Associates.
Mhm.
I was there from 1990 to 2005. This month is my 23rd year working in Carlsbad.
Wow,
So
my
I've been here
goodness.
now more than half my life. So I'm glad to call it home.
Well, I am too, and I'm glad you're here because you've added so much to it. And we're going to get to this thing that you're involved in now in a moment. But you worked for the mental health for, what, 19 years? Was that it? Almost 15 years?
Mhm.
And you must have gotten quite a lot of experience dealing with people.
I sure did. That's one of those, everybody has a part of their life where they say, I should write a book, and that's, for my career, that's probably mine. The great team that I worked with there
Yeah.
made a lot of great memories, and I wouldn't trade that for anything.
And the stories they have to tell you, that has to be a very intriguing business to be involved in.
It is. It is.
Because you get so many different problems that they have, and how do you handle all of this?
Well, I was fortunate when I was there to, in part, handle it by being involved in different programs
Mm-hmm.
and being able to see people being helped not only through counseling but with residential treatment and help with their daily living and assistance benefits and things like that, which makes it not all entirely an emotional burden.
Yeah.
So that was great. And like I said, we had a great team of people to work with and commiserate with, which made it a lot easier that we carried the burden as a team.
And when that career ended, what did you get into next?
Actually went into proposal and grant writing and fundraising with them before I left.
Oh, is that right?
And that gradually began a transition that I didn't necessarily intend, but it happened, that this new upstart organization, Carlsbad Community Anti-Drug and Gang Coalition, got some funding and needed someone to manage that. And I gradually went over into that position, and I now work mostly with the coalition. I have other jobs on the side as well, but my primary duties are for the coalition.
And you're very famous for being in that program, because I see your name quite a lot in the newspapers.
Famous or infamous, Bob? I'm not so sure, depending
No.
on who's asking.
No. Tell us a little bit about the program, the drug and
The Anti-Drug and Gang Coalition?
yeah.
Well, it's not necessarily a program. It truly is a coalition of interested citizens and organizations who have a common goal of a safer and healthier South Eddy County.
Right.
And we also, I say South Eddy County, we also have collaborations in Northern Eddy County with the wonderful coalition there, Artesia Drug and Crime Coalition.
Mhm.
The coalition in Lee County has been a great partner with us with various things as well. But basically, what we do is work to create a community environment where kids never have to face the decision to use drugs or join a gang from the time they leave their house in the morning until they get home at night. That's my goal, is for every kid in Carlsbad never to have to face that decision. So we do that not necessarily through any one program,
Yeah.
but through a combination of things that bring people together to make the best use of what our assets are here to create a healthier community.
Now, I saw the other night that a number of years ago, the federal government was putting in $135 million to help the border patrols stem the tide of drugs coming into the country. And then a couple of years ago, they cut it back quite a bit. And now this year, from what I could gather the other night, the gentleman who works on the border patrol down there stated that they're not giving us any money this year. And it seems these guys are working themselves to death down there to stem this tide, and our own government's backing away. What's going on down there in Washington, D.C.? Oh, you probably don't know,
Well,
but
you know, like our president, I don't think I'm allowed to say that's above my pay grade, but
Yeah.
it is true that the resources that are being put into border security here are a drop in the bucket compared to what is needed.
Mhm.
Absolutely. In order to keep my perspective and to keep my motivation up for this work, I really have to keep my mind on South Eddy County and what's happening
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
Because a person can really make themselves crazy concentrating on what's going on in Washington or not going on, depending on your opinion on things.
Yeah, I think that's why my wife says, you're acting a little loony lately. I think I'm involved in it too much. You're right. Well, we're making progress in Eddy County, though, aren't we?
In some ways, yes, absolutely. And, you know, Carlsbad it kind of tends to signal the change in Some things with the housing market, economic markets, and things like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're opposite. Sometimes our tide turns before the rest of the nation tends to go somewhere. And I think that's true with youth drug abuse as well. We've been tracking it now statistically since 2005.
Yeah.
And 2003, through student surveys on odd numbered years. And we saw here that we had, for example, the highest meth rates, unfortunately, the highest number of kids who were trying meth pretty much in the whole country.
Holy mackerel.
But by the same token, this community and people who really care jumped on that problem with complete seriousness. And
Jeez.
our youth meth use rates here dropped about 18 months to 2 years before the rest of the country's did. We've seen the same trend happen with prescription drugs, unfortunately. And our latest data, interestingly enough, makes it appear that alcohol is coming back into vogue as the primary drug of choice, which is actually a new thing since I started in this work. Whether that's a good trend or not, I don't know. But I would really love to see kids not turn to any chemical, but to turn to life and the great outdoors and their friends as a resource.
I don't know what they'll think, but recently I was in Guam, the island of Guam, territory of Guam, and I saw a gentleman driving intoxicated, and he accidentally lost control of the car and killed a young female.
Oh,
The crime in Guam, in contrast to our country, this man has been sentenced to life in prison without parole. They don't put up with drunken driving in Guam. And it's something that we've got to face, because I just saw in the paper recently that one person has been picked up 10 times for driving under the influence, and there's no excuse for that.
no.
Not at all.
There's no easy answer. On the other hand, people aren't willing to pay taxes to keep people in jail for a lifetime as well. One program that addresses those things that the coalition does support is the adult and juvenile drug courts that are going on here.
Yeah.
And those are fantastic programs. Magistrate court has an adult drug court, and juvenile probation has a juvenile drug court, which is under the auspices of Victoria Henderson, one of our coalition members.
Oh, yes, okay.
And they do a wonderful job, one person at a time, turning their lives around.
That's terrific. Well, what does Flanigan do in her spare time?
A lot of different things. Of course, I love my animals, and I have horses. Horses have been part of my life for most of my time here in Carlsbad. And
What are your horses' names?
their so-called barn names, their everyday names are Impy and Will.
Impy and Will?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. And do they both love you?
Mostly, they love me when I have food in my hand. Other than that, they're a little bit fickle.
Yeah.
But they're great guys, as I call them, and I'm lucky to have them in my life.
Yeah.
And I also I got guys, blessing to talk about this. I also in the past couple of years have become certified as an NRA rifle, pistol, and personal protection instructor.
Oh.
And I'm teaching some women's classes now to help women get up to speed in being prepared to keep themselves safe in inside and outside of their home.
Good.
Women are the fastest growing segment of firearms users. So
I think that's wonderful.
thank you. Happy to serve in that way, and putting together a class right now for beginners women's beginner pistol class, probably in August or September. So
Now these ladies are checked out beforehand, so they just don't go around shooting up the town. That's
they have to sign a 2-page, pretty serious personal conduct and liability release before we begin any live fire exercises.
Okay.
We spend some time in the classroom, so I get to know them before we're actually on the range. The safety is definitely a top priority.
Do you read any books dealing with all of this? But you're probably so snowed with paperwork that you don't have time to read.
I do read quite a lot. Right now I'm reading a book about animals by Temple Grandin, the wonderfully gifted person with autism who has become a scientist and animal behaviorist and veterinarian in her own right.
Oh my gosh.
And boy, are her insights incredible. Highly recommend any of her books to anyone who's interested in that.
And this is general, just any animal, or?
Just pretty much any animal.
Mhm.
Temple Grandin, again, is her name. There's also a movie by her name. Claire Danes stars as her.
Oh,
And it's a great movie.
that's wonderful. And so each day you face one challenge after another. That's amazing.
That's one way to look at it. Yeah.
And you can still smile, because a lot of people get so grumpy.
Well, Bob, I smile because we have a community with great people in it like you and like
Oh.
Guy and all the folks who work to make this a better place to live. And so you guys are doing your part, I need to do my part too.
Well, you do your part, and Guy certainly has done his part.
That's right.
I don't know about me, but my wife said about the only thing you can do is wash dishes. You know how that goes.
Well, our program officers for the coalition that we answer to in Santa Fe and Washington, D.C. have often remarked what great media resources we have here in Carlsbad.
Yeah.
Many coalitions really try, and as hard as they try, they can't get their word out on the TV.
No, that's true.
So we appreciate the opportunity to do that very much.
Yeah, and Channel 23 is very pleased that we can do that for you.
Yeah.
So what big events do you have coming up in the future, Eve?
National Night Out is coming right up, and
That's right.
I want to put a plug in for that if I may.
Please feel free to.
Okay. For folks who aren't familiar with it, National Night Out is always the first Tuesday in August. So this year that falls on August 6th.
Mm-hmm.
And the coalition here is able to sponsor neighborhood block parties. A lot of our volunteers got together and said, this is a good way to do outreach in neighborhoods and make sure that
Right.
neighbors get to know neighbors, and we get back to that fabric of a community that you and I knew growing up. where
Absolutely.
your neighbors knew all the kids' first names, and you didn't dare do anything wrong in front of them, and we all felt kind of a sense of responsibility to one another.
Mm-hmm.
And people looked out for each other when they weren't home, too. You know, if you saw someone tampering with your neighbor's car and you knew they weren't home,
You
the
know,
responsible neighbor picks up the phone and reports it to police.
Absolutely.
And we've gotten away from that as a culture, and we're doing something about it here in Carlsbad. And kind of the hook with that is National Night Out. Also, Carlsbad Police Department's Wise Eyes program has
Yeah.
been an ongoing support that's been great. But if people want to host a neighborhood block party, we will supply some goodie bags and free prizes and stuff. It's very simple. Folks can go on our website for details. It's carlsbadcoalition.com, carlsbadcoalition.com. They can give me a call at 575-642-4825.
Say that one more time.
It's 575-642-4825.
Good.
And we don't charge anything or whatever, but we like folks to be able to sign up so that we know what's happening. We can get those goodie bags out to people. And the great thing is, in this community, the police officers and sheriff's office out in the county and Carlsbad and volunteer fire departments, depending on where people live, generally are willing to go out and visit the party, give the folks a safety lecture, answer any questions they have. A lot of times they'll allow the kids to, get inside the ambulance and check it out, and maybe climb on the fire truck if they're lucky. So of course, those visits are always assuming that there's no emergency happening that calls them away.
Yeah.
But we're really fortunate in this community to have that kind of partnership between law enforcement and fire and neighborhoods.
Well, I've taken a number of those journeys when I was on riding with the police, Tony Baca in particular, and we would go to the different areas around the city, not just in the north side or the east side or the west side, but the south side, all of them. And it was amazing how this program has grown.
It is.
And I think it's wonderful.
Yeah.
And we get terrific support from, as you said, the fire department, the police department, and the people themselves. And they've got to be congratulated, Eve.
Absolutely. We're going into our 8th year now of doing it this way.
Yeah.
And there are, I don't know if people know, that that's truly National Night Out. All 50 states now, there are territories and military bases worldwide that also celebrate National Night Out. This is the 30th year.
That's great.
And there are literally, I think, about 10 million people or something involved in it
My
worldwide
gosh.
at this point.
That's amazing.
We're a little part of
Oh.
a very big deal here in
Yeah.
Carlsbad.
Oh, that's wonderful. So, E. Flanigan's going to keep working like a little beaver for the rest of her life, I trust.
It looks that way. I'd get bored if I weren't.
Well, I think that's wonderful because so many people just, they don't have anything to do. They don't want to do anything as they age, and you keep getting busier and busier and busier. And that's why I admire you so much. And you're always ready to be on radio and with latest updates on things. That's wonderful.
Well, I hope, Bob, when I get to your age that I'm still going as much as you are and walking everywhere too. I really admire that in you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, it makes me feel good. And of course, I won't go and every time I get hungry for anything, guy says, would you like some chicken or beef? And he knows I'm a vegetarian. He knows that. Eve, I want to thank you for being our guest
Thank
today.
you
It
for
was just
having me.
wonderful.
Thank
You're
you.
wonderful. And ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Channel 23, goodbye and good luck.